the Super Bowl 60 starts today, 1 week from today. The best sporting event in America, Super Bowl 60 from Santa Clara, will start next week. Unbelievable time right now during the NFL. It's like a convention when you go to Media Row now. It used to be called Radio Row. Now it's Media Row. And one of the big guys that we love getting on our program all the time, and one of my dear friends, one of the 50 Hall of Fame voters, it is Armando Salguero. Armando, how much has it changed? Look at this. I've saved my credentials, like from all my Super Bowls here.
Wow.
I mean, how has it changed? How has it changed over, say, the last 15 years going to a Super Bowl? It used to be, like I said, it used to be Radio Row, and now it's Media Row. So how's that changed?
So you're talking 15 years. I covered my first Super Bowl after the 1990 season, Dan, and I went to, Media Row, Radio Row, whatever you called it back then, and there was maybe 24 stations there, maybe, right? And there were no stars walking around with handlers. There was none of that. There was no, crazy people offering you food and other, little foibles. I would say to you, it's grown by leaps and bounds, just like the NFL. The NFL is a monolith, and it just hasn't stopped growing. I heard your last segment about how LeBron hasn't helped the NBA grow. Everybody helps the NFL. The NFL is bigger than players, whereas the NBA probably is players bigger than the league. The NFL is absolutely bigger than the players because you lose the Staubachs, you lose the Tarkingtons, you lose people like that, and people don't remember because you replace them with Montana and Marino. And you lose Montana and Marino, and people don't remember because you replace them with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, and you lose Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, and you replace them with Patrick Mahomes and the crew that we got now with with Josh Allen and alike. So it's like this ongoing thing, and it's just the league just turns over and turns bigger.
All right, Armando, the storyline this week obviously was the Belichick stuff. And unfortunately for you guys, the 50 voters, it leaked out that Bill Belichick next week is not going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. You were the man that presented Bill Belichick at the Hall of Fame. And I heard it was a Zoom. And I also heard it was about a 45-minute conversation. Can you give us a little detail? I know you're not supposed to talk about other people that were in that conversation, but can you tell us a little bit how that all played out and how that all ended?
Yeah, so I found out that Belichick hadn't made it through whispers, and then ESPN had this story. He didn't make it, and I'm like, I was floored. I was absolutely floored. Obviously I don't agree with it because I presented the guy, right? And so one of the rules of the Hall of Fame is if you're going to present someone, you're going to be, approving of them. You're going to be supportive of them. And obviously part of that is voting for them. So I was just stunned. And the reason that I just can't fathom it to this day is, look, he was in a group with the coaches, the contributors, and the veteran players whose eligibility as modern era candidates have passed, right? So the 5 people were Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft, Ken Anderson as a player, L.C. Greenwood is a player, Roger Craig as a player, and obviously Robert Kraft was a contributor with Belichick as the coach. Out of those 5, somehow we had 11 people, at least, who thought that Bill Belichick was not even the 3rd best candidate in that group. Think about that. So if you're picking Hall of Famers and you're going Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft, L.C. Greenwood, Ken Anderson, and Roger Craig. And of that 5, you get 3 votes, and you don't give one of those votes to Bill Belichick. What is going on?
I mean, Armando, it's mind-numbing here. And I'll ask you this because, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. I've known you for such a long time here. I know you're a Don Shula guy. And I know that you believe that Don Shula is the greatest coach in NFL history. For you to present Bill Belichick, I mean, you presented a guy based on his merit, the 8 Super Bowls, 2 as a coordinator, 6 as a head coach. And I'm going to ask you a 2-part question. Did you vote for him? And again, what was the room like? Were there people that actually stood up and were making compelling arguments against him? Because I heard it was a 45-minute conversation in that room. What can you tell us?
Well, yes, I voted for him. Absolutely. I presented him. That would be, half-ass if I didn't vote for him. And
Right.
I'm not a half-ass guy. So there's that. It was a Zoom situation. And yeah, there was pushback. Of course there was, to the point where at least 11 folks didn't go with the selection. And I'm sure that there are different reasons. I'm sure that Spygate was one. There's a thinking that, I don't know, that players deserve to go in before coaches. Okay. Look, we're supposed to pick the best of the best. And I presented a guy who has 6 Lombardi trophies, Dan. The man has more Lombardi trophies than the man the trophy is named after. Okay? I mean, how do you keep that out of the Hall of Fame? I don't understand. The trophy is named the Vince Lombardi Trophy. It's going to be awarded on Sunday here in Santa Clara. Bill Belichick has more Vince Lombardi trophies than Vince Lombardi.
I love that. Okay, Armando. Well, there were 2 dudes in the room. If they are bringing up Spygate, well, I mean, how do you not take yourself out of that conversation if you feel biased like Tony Dungy and Bill Polian? Because that was basically based off that AFC Championship game, because the following season, that's when the penalty and the fines came down, were based on that. I mean, how do you have a fair and balanced view of Bill Belichick if you believe that implicated in a result and it affected the result of that AFC title game?
Well, I don't know how they voted because we don't share our votes, right?
Okay.
We
okay.
I don't know how those guys or any other guys voted unless they've gone public with how they voted. And as far as Bill Polian is concerned, he's gone, he's told 4 different stories of how he voted. And ultimately, the last one was I voted for him. Before that, it was I think I did. Before that is I don't remember. Before that, it was something else. So I don't know how they voted. I know how I voted. And obviously, I was not.
We're going to hold you over. We're going to hold you over here, Armando. I want you to finish up because I want to hold you over here. Folks, don't forget our great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in all of America, family-owned, family-run. Make sure you end up, if you're ever hurt or injured on the job, Morgan & Morgan is there for you. Like I said, folks, I've known John and Ultima Morgan for over 25 years. If you ever hurt or injured on the job, go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. We will continue that conversation. And also, we're going to take a look at Super Bowl 60 with our friend Armando Salguero, who's there in Santa Clara right now for Super Bowl 60. It will be a great game. I believe the coaching in the ball game is going to be sensational on both sides, offense and defense. Armando Salguero from Outkick back right here on SportsGrid.
Heads or tails? Over or under? Seahawks, Patriots. Don't stress. SportsGrid breaks it all down.
They are locks. We can capitalize.
We're going to see a ton of over money.
Props, expert guests, and smart insight leading up to the big game.
Oh my God, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl.
Only on SportsGrid.
They're just unblemished everywhere. They dominate you defensively, and they have offensive balance. They force turnovers and control the glass. Let's put it to you like this. UConn isn't just undefeated. They're a tyrant over the women's basketball landscape. March won't expose them much as they will confirm their invincibility.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
How could you tell the story of baseball without Clemens, Rose, and Bonds? You don't have a Hall of Fame if you don't have those three dudes. Sills, you know what, man? These guys took steroids. There wasn't a steroid test and a PED test in Major League Baseball at the time. Do you understand this?
Outspoken with Dan Sileo. Only on SportsGrid.
But I remember being 16 in high school, being in my school uniform, long pants and a tie, and I deadlifted 200 kgs, so that's 440 pounds. So yeah, so that was I actually have a video of it, so it might get leaked somewhere. Someone might be able to find that one.
We might need to get that one to B-roll the show in.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
We are getting ready for one of the greatest weeks in all of American sports, and that is Super Bowl week and Super Bowl 60. Armando Salguero from Outkick joins us here. I want to finish up a little bit on what you were saying about Tony Dungy and Bill Polian. Obviously, I know this too, Armando, that you guys are not privy to the votes on how the vote total comes out. So you really don't know until really, I believe, until next Thursday. But if you can, just to conclude on that topic of how that whole thing played out, because to me, Armando, those two guys were the ones that maybe had the biggest complaint because they thought maybe Spygate affected the information that they got for that AFC Championship game. Whatever you think about it, you know, that's maybe where they went with why maybe they didn't. I don't know. They didn't vote for him. Polian has gone back and forth. What's your takeaway with those two guys, Tony Dungy and Bill Polian?
I have a lot of respect for Coach Dungy. You know, I believe that he is, you know, a guy that I voted for the Hall of Fame. And so he's obviously a Pro Football Hall of Fame voter, and I think he was well deserving of that. And I would hope that he thought that the guy that, you know, kind of sent him home packing a couple of times at least in AFC Championship games and playoffs would be worthy also of being in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, well then here, don't you think, and Armando, I remember years ago when I was doing radio down in South Florida, I remember you saying, man, you know what, when I grow up, I want to be Tom Brady. Best looking girl, the best team, the hair's nice. This guy's got everything going. I love that segment we did. It was one of my favorite segments. Well, do you think that this could affect on how people perceive him? Because remember, he was suspended for 4 games for Deflategate, and Belichick wasn't implicated in that at all. It was Brady that lost those 4 games. Do you think that people could come up and go, well, if we're going to use that one metric for Bill Belichick, how do we not use that same metric for Tom Brady?
Yeah, so number one, you're asking me to explain and understand people who I don't agree with, right?
Yeah.
So logically, if you're all bung tight about Bill Belichick not getting in because of Spygate, I assume that you're going to bring up, you know, whenever it is a couple of years down the road, that Tom Brady had Deflategate. And I don't know how that's going to go. I assume that there will be a lesson learned from the total, public relations disaster that we've had, in that the Hall of Fame Selectors Committee looks really bad in deciding that Bill Belichick is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't know if the Hall of Fame is going to address that somehow. I wouldn't be surprised if the process changes somewhat. I wouldn't be surprised if selectors are changed out. The Hall of Fame put out this statement last week saying that basically it's a shot across the bow of selectors if you are seen to have violated the selection process or any of the bylaws, you are subject to dismissal. Well, that's obviously a clear message to selectors. I would say the Hall of Fame should be subject to changing the process, because I just mentioned to you, it's you get 3 votes for 5 guys. It used to be that it was a yes or no vote, and you could elect as many of them as you wanted or as few of them as you wanted. Now we get 3 votes for 5 guys, and I still have a hard time believing that of the 5 guys that we mentioned in the last segment, Belichick, Robert Kraft as the contributor, Ken Anderson, L.C. Greenwood, and Roger Craig as the veteran players, that Belichick is not one of the 3 that you would think should be in the Hall of Fame. It's illogical to me.
Absolutely. All right, Super Bowl 60. Who do you like in the game?
Well, I liked the Patriots until I saw last week that their quarterback didn't practice. And I don't love that. So recently I talked to Fran Tarkington, Dan, and you know that he played in a heap of Super Bowls and won none of them.
Right.
And he was explaining that when the Vikings played in those 3 Super Bowls, they got, the so-called Super Bowl bye week like everybody else. And Bud Grant sent them home for the first week. They did not practice the first week of their 3 Super Bowls. And
Wow.
I was like, what? And so there was no preparation done by the Vikings in the first week of their 3 Super Bowl losses to the Dolphins, the Steelers, and the Raiders. They got to the Super Bowl site and then started to prepare and practice. Guess what? The other teams, they were practicing for 2 weeks. And I say all that to say that I don't love that Drake May has a bit of a shoulder thing and was ill last week and missed every day of practice. I don't like that. So I think I'm going to lean to the Seattle Seahawks.
In about a minute here, you tell me, look at the coaching in this, the offensive coordinators, Kubiak and Josh McDaniels, and the head coach. You got McDonald and you have Vrabel. You couldn't have a better coaching staff going against each other than in a game like this, right? I mean, these are 2 great defensive and offensive-minded guys.
These are 2 staffs that turned around things very quickly. McDonald, in his second year, goes to the Super Bowl in Seattle, and Vrabel, in his first year with the Patriots, goes to the Super Bowl. That's damn impressive.
Absolutely. I mean, I love Mike Vrabel, too, and the job that he's done. If I'm not mistaken, Armando, he could become the first player to win a Super Bowl with the team that he played for and win the Super Bowl with the team he played for as a head coach. He would become the first, correct?
Mike Vrabel was a very good player, and he's an outstanding coach. He, as good as he was as a player, he's a better coach.
Armando, have a great time at Santa Clara. It's always great media week. Thank you so much for doing this, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you so much, Armando. That is my friend, Armando Salguero. Make sure you check out his work at Outkick. One of those Super Bowl teams is going to be sold. I'll tell you which one next, right here on SportsGrid.
Heads or tails? Over or under? Seahawks, Patriots. Don't stress. SportsGrid breaks it all down.
They are locks. We can capitalize.
We're going to see a ton of over money.
Props, expert guests, and smart insight leading up to the big game.
Oh my God, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl.
Only on SportsGrid.
They're just unblemished everywhere. They dominate you defensively, and they have offensive balance. They force turnovers, they control the glass. Let's put it to you like this. UConn isn't just undefeated. They're a tyrant over the women's basketball landscape. March won't expose them much as they will confirm their invincibility.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
How could you tell the story of baseball without Clemens, Rose, and Bonds? You don't have a Hall of Fame if you don't have those three dudes. Sills, you know what, man? These guys took steroids. There wasn't a steroid test and a PED test in Major League Baseball at the time. Do you understand this?
Outspoken with Dan Sileo. Only on SportsGrid.
But I remember being 16 in high school, being in my school uniform, long pants and a tie, and I deadlifted 200 kgs, so that's 440 pounds. So yeah, so that was I actually have a video of it, so it might get leaked somewhere. Someone might be able to find that one.
We might need to get that one to B-roll the show in.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Hard to believe that one of these football teams that will play in Super Bowl 60 will be sold. That team's the Seattle Seahawks. Paul Allen, the legendary co-owner of Microsoft, and his family now are in the process of selling the football team. I believe they took control from Ken Baring back in 1996 when Ken owned the football team. And obviously, Paul Allen passed away in 2018. And so the family now is in the process of selling the football team. At one time, Paul Allen also had owned the Rose Garden and the Portland Trail Blazers, who are in a transaction right now and ready to get sold. There's no question about it. One of the truly great sportsmen of all time. And the family now has come up with the fact that they're in the process of now in a transition on trying to sell the Seahawks. The Seahawks are going to fetch roughly in the neighborhood between $7 and $8 billion for this team. Look at the price tags of these NFL football teams. $7 to $8 billion. Just to put this into context for you, Jerry Jones bought the Dallas Cowboys in 1989 for $154 million. The president of the United States currently right now said it'd be one of the stupidest moves that he ever made in his entire life. Well, that football team right now has a valuation of around $13 billion. The business of the National Football League is absolutely one of the biggest entities right now in American sports. Here's something that I would tell you, though, that I think that Roger Goodell and the 31 other owners could possibly do that would make the NFL really move into a different light. Instead of selling to minority ownerships, when I'm talking ownership shares, how about actually having a minority owner? How about having somebody like a Magic Johnson, who every single thing that he's touched turns to gold? He wins a World Series with the Los Angeles Dodgers as a part owner of the Dodgers. He's now with Josh Harris, who is a owner of the Washington Commanders, and Magic Johnson has a percentage in that football team. How about selling it to a minority ownership group that could show the NFL is moving in the right direction? Hey, it's one thing to talk about black coaches in the National Football League. It's one thing to talk about black general managers. It's another thing to start talking about a minority owner owning the football team. Having somebody like Magic Johnson, That, to me, would open up other avenues and doors that the National Football League has not been down. You put Magic Johnson in that position where he can make an influence. Look at the things, and Magic Johnson has been a winner his entire life. I know Magic. And I will tell you, one of my favorite things about Magic Johnson, he's a winner. 2 state championships in high school in Michigan. Then he goes on to Michigan State, wins the national championship against Larry Bird. Then as a 20-year-old, Magic Johnson takes the Lakers with Jabbar getting injured in Game 6 and wins that title at the age of 20. Can you imagine? Your rookie year, you win the NBA championship. The year previous, you won a national championship. And then before that, you won 2 state championships. Fast forward those 5 titles. And then look what he's done after he's left the NBA. He is a pillar in the African-American community. He helps start businesses. How do you not look to Magic Johnson? If you're the NFL and you're Roger Goodell, instead of chin-wagging and telling you how you're progressive when it comes to minorities, why don't you make this a statement? When the commissioner addresses for the state of the NFL on Tuesday, and he talks about the state of the NFL, how about making a statement that we're looking to not just open it up for a select few, we're looking to open up the sale of the Seahawks to people that could make an impact in communities. Can you imagine what a black owner in the National Football League would do and how it would look that the National Football League is growing? Pete Rozelle, Paul Tagliabue, and Roger Goodell. This could be a statement moment in moving the needle and selling that football team. Paul Allen, I think, again, I've had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of years ago before he passed away. And I met him through Todd Lewicki, who was the architect, obviously, of that building in Seattle. Todd Lewicki, of course, was the president of the Tampa Bay Lightning at one time and just gave me tremendous stories of Paul Allen. And I think Paul Allen would be absolutely thrilled to death if you sold that to somebody like Magic Johnson. Speaking of hockey, I had Cam Stewart on last time, and we were dropping the puck, and we were throwing it around. Something going awesome on right now in Tampa, the Winter Classic. I want to hit on that. Some NFL. We'll do that next right here on SportsGrid.
Heads or tails? Over or under? Seahawks, Patriots. Don't stress. SportsGrid breaks it all down.
They are locks. We can capitalize.
We're going to see a ton of over money.
Props, expert guests, and smart insight leading up to the big game.
Oh, my God, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl.
Only on SportsGrid.
They're just unblemished everywhere. They dominate you defensively, and they have offensive balance. They force turnovers, they control the glass. Let's put it to you like this. UConn isn't just undefeated. They're a tyrant over the women's basketball landscape. March won't expose them much as they will confirm their invincibility.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
How could you tell the story of baseball without Clemens, Rose, and Bonds? You don't have a Hall of Fame if you don't have those 3 dudes. Sills, you know what, man? These guys took steroids. There wasn't a steroid test and a PED test in Major League Baseball at the time. Do you understand this?
Outspoken with Dan Sileo. Only on SportsGrid.
But I remember being 16 in high school, being in my school uniform, long pants and a tie. And I deadlifted 200 kgs, so that's 440 pounds. So, so that was, I actually have a video of it, so it might get leaked somewhere. Someone might be able to find that one.
We might need to get that one to B-roll the show in.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
I was just given a lesson on sometimes in gambling you get the shells and sometimes you get the egg. And speaking of that, Cam Stiller joins us now. You were giving me the lowdown last night of what's going on with the NHL last night. So it sounds like you got the shells last night, no?
Oh no, I got the egg, Dan. But the problem is when I hit the parlays, I go for a dozen eggs. I should just be happy with one on a piece of toast, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, breakfast is good. Why do I have to add and add and add? Like I don't need to get the chicken in the farm, but that's what happens when you play 6 and 8 game parlays, Dan. Because it's kind of funny gambling. A lot of people are in this industry and they talk about their units and this and that. I'm a very different type of person here, and like Gabe, who does a show here, he's kind of like me. Like, we're guys who just enjoy doing it. When I was a kid, I worked at a golf course. I cleaned clubs. We used to play for double bubble. It's just been in my blood ever since I was like 5 or 6 years old. Just, I really enjoy it, right? Like when I go golfing with my friends, even though I suck, we $10 a hole, $20, whatever the hell we do. It's just something that I've been doing my whole life. But I realized one thing, Dan, and it's really hard. When you're on fire and you start to raise the units, gamblers like, no, Cam. I'll give you a little bit. You're doing well. You took the Kraken last night. You did this, you did that. So every time I get greedy, bad things happen. So I know, as I say, I got to stay in my lane, take little wins, and try to build the castle. You know what I mean? One brick at a time instead of trying to build the whole thing in one night. You get it?
Absolutely, I get it here. Hey, I wonder if you get this and you like what you're seeing here with what the NHL, maybe one of the most ambitious winter classics. And it's going to take place today in Tampa at Raymond James. They're expecting 70,000 fans. I think that would put it fourth on the all-time number. I know the one at Ann Arbor was like over 100,000, but Bruins and Lightning today at the Winter Classic. Do you like this series?
I do. The thing is, you know what it is, Dan? I kind of like the stadium series. Like, let's just say this. I'm kind of on the fence. I like it when it's done very rarely because it's special to me. Like I remember back in the day when they had it, it was Edmonton and Montreal, and it was damn cold. Remember the goalies had like toques, like the little winter hats on top of the helmets, whatever. It was freezing. And I mean real freezing. And to me, that's a memory that still sticks in my mind because I love hockey so much and I played it. It's like, wow. But if they keep on continually doing extra, I don't really like it. Like that's one of those things. I think they got to be very careful with, making it unique. But I will say this, and as a guy who lives in Toronto, I'm not biased like some of these other Toronto people. The Tampa Bay Lightning fans, they're good fans. They've been going to their games for a long time. They play that heavy metal music. They have a great product on the ice, one of the best teams in the league, and the people that like it really like it. I could tell you their fan base is a hell of a lot more hardcore than Florida. Florida just recently has had the success with the Panthers in comparison to the Lightning when you look at it. So I'll give the Lightning all the credit in the world. It should be a great game, Dan. I'm kind of looking at Boston from a dog perspective, maybe plus 1.5 in some parlays. Tampa Bay's been playing great hockey, but the Boston Bruins have been really surprising to me. They're a team that I thought was going to take a step back. I'm like, can Swayman continue to be this guy? And, I look at their team and go, they only have a couple really good stars on their team, but they have really good, hard workers on their team. They have guys who play two ways. And that's the beautiful thing about hockey. Look at the Leafs. It's opposite. You have Matthews, and they got rid of Marner, which I really wish he was back here, and Nylander. They have a bunch of stars, but do they play well together? No. And they have an aging defenseman, and their goaltending is inconsistent. Where I look at Boston, I'm like, I expected the Bruins to take a step back, Dan, but they're really overachieving, in my opinion. They deserve a lot of credit. That organization always finds a way. I don't like them because they always beat us, but I respect them.
I saw the Lightning the other night. They beat the Jets, and if I'm not mistaken, Cam, right? They've won 18 of like their last 19 ball games or something games, like that. I mean, yeah. So are they the best team right now in the NHL? Yes. The Tampa Bay Lightning.
They are. I know a lot of people are going to say Colorado, and Colorado still is very, very dangerous. And I think Colorado just went on a little bit of a skid because they're talking, they were so damn dominant, Dan. You look at it and go, how does a team do this in hockey? Because it's a sport of parity, very opposite to others. Like, there's so many teams still involved, and that's the way the NHL likes it. That's why they're not going to change their point format, which I kind of really want them to do to get an extra point in regulation. But franchises would be out earlier, and that's bad for business for a gate-driven league, as you understand that, right? So they want to keep more teams involved. But right now I look at Tampa Bay, great goaltending. Kucherov, like, does he get any, like, the guy's getting older, but he's getting better, Dan, like a fine wine. And look, like guys like Hedman, they're defensemen. They find all these young guys and they just play the system. And let's call it out for what it is. John Cooper is an amazing coach. And he's one of those guys that he did it in a different way. You know, a background, like a legal background. He wasn't just hockey all the time, but he's grown up through every single phase of the game. And I really think that benefits him because he sees things from a different perspective. He's great with Team Canada. He's great with the Lightning. In my opinion, probably the best coach in the league. The Tampa Bay Lightning, they don't go away, Dan. They don't go away. That's the thing.
I love it here. Hey, real quick, Patrick Kane passes Mike Modano as the American all-time leading scorer. Significant, right? That's a pretty big accomplishment there for Patrick Kane.
Patrick Kane is one of those guys, too. When you watch him play, I remember in his younger days when I worked at the Score company, and I did a thing called Journey to the Cup, where I went to all the cities and, you know, interviewed players and got to meet them. So I saw Patrick Kane win a Stanley Cup on one of those journeys. And I'll tell you something. This guy, just natural goal scorer, great player from the Buffalo area, and he does it every single year, Dan. And that's the whole thing. You know, as a Canadian, I just respect the game of hockey. And Patrick Kane is a guy year after year. He's been huge for the Red Wings. And, you know, when Mike Modano gives you the praise that you deserve, it's like, wow. And I'll tell you one thing. Even as a Canadian, Dan, I've already bet on the American women winning gold at the Olympics. I'll tell you that. We can talk about that, too, because I know Canada, you know, you look at the Americans, they're like a minus 130, minus 140 favorite. And it's significant because the Team Canada, even though they're very, very good, the age difference is significant. Team Canada averages almost 30 and a half years old to America's 26. And I got to give my buddy Gabe a lot of credit, too. He watches a lot of PWHL, the women's league. I watch some of it. I'm more of an NHL guy and a little bit of AHL. But I'm watching it, and the American players in the league, they're fantastic. And I'll tell you, they have a little bit more quickness in Canada, and that's really going to hurt the Canadians come Olympic time. So if you guys are looking for a bet, the American women to win gold to me, and as a Canadian, I'm saying they're a better team than Team Canada. I like the American women. It's a good price.
Who's a dark horse in the Olympics outside of Team USA and Team Canada that you could see get on the podium?
Sweden. Sweden's one of those teams that you never really want to mess with these guys, Dan. Like, take a look at some of the guys they have on their team, too. Like, great players in the National Hockey League, very strong defensemen. That's the whole thing about this, too. I think that's the thing about the Swedes is they can lock you down. And I look at Canada's, America's roster. I'm like, wow, they got a lot of goal scoring. But Sweden, they have height, they have length, they have toughness, they have goaltending and defense. Very, very important. If they could just have that couple guys break through with goal scoring, I think they're a very dangerous club. But that's the whole thing. The gap between Canada and everybody else. Like, people are like, oh, okay, and Canada, oh, we're okay, we're going to win. You guys remember? It took overtime for you to beat the Americans. Do you remember in the Olympics with Sidney Crosby and the golden goal? It went to overtime. There's just some of these Canadian hockey fans think, oh, yeah, we're always going to win. It's like you won games in overtime, so be careful. Like, the whole catching up right now to America and Canada. You got to worry about the Latvias, the Czechs, the Swedes, the Finns, and everybody else. It's a global game.
30 seconds. Back to the NHL. Carolina or Vegas, in your opinion, who would you be more surprised that ended up getting to a Final Four when it came to their conference championship?
Great question. I'm going to say, actually, I'd be more surprised with Vegas. I think there's a lot of teams. I think Vegas is vulnerable. I don't think their goaltending is as good as it once was, Dan. And I'll tell you, the Carolina Hurricanes, they've been the bridesmaids all the time. But Florida's taking a little bit of step back. And other than Tampa Bay, I could see a Tampa Bay Lightning Carolina Final Four. But in Vegas, Edmonton, Dallas, so many other teams, like in the West, I'm kind of thinking I'd rather take the Carolina Hurricanes. That's my opinion.
We're going to talk some NFL next with Cam. We'll do that right here on SportsGrid.
I know you didn't. Talk.
I'm innocent. Got the wrong guy. It wasn't me. I didn't do anything. Okay, it was me. I did it.
Bringing an owl to an interrogation? That's a power move.
Every time.
Yeah. Hiring America's largest injury law firm for your injury? That's also a power move. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Heads or tails? Over or under? Seahawks, Patriots. Don't stress. SportsGrid breaks it all down.
They are locks. We can capitalize. We're going to see a ton of over money.
Props, expert guests, and smart insight leading up to the big game.
Oh my God, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl.
Only on SportsGrid.
How could you tell the story of baseball without Clemens, Rose, and Bonds? You don't have a Hall of Fame if you don't have those three dudes. Sills, you know what, man? These guys took steroids. There wasn't a steroid test and a PED test in Major League Baseball at the time. Do you understand this?
Outspoken with Dan Sileo. Only on SportsGrid.
But I remember being 16 in high school, being in my school uniform, long pants and a tie. And I deadlifted 200 kgs. So that's 440 pounds. So, so that was, I actually have a video of it, so it might get leaked somewhere. Someone might be able to find that one.
We might need to get that one to B-roll the show in.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
I've just learned that Cam Stewart's a man of all trades here. We can talk anything. And maybe I should say this, and maybe this is for TV here. He covers anything with a stick. Can I say that here on television? Thank you very much.
You're right, Dan.
Hey,
If it's a stick, I'm betting on it for sure. You're right. We haven't got the baseball season yet. That's a story for another day. Cool.
Justin Rose, man, running it away right now with the Torrey Pines right now at the Farmers. Here's a guy that missed the cut last week. I mean, he's killing his course right now. I think he's got a number right now that would rival Tiger's number and the course record that Tiger has there at Torrey Pines.
I agree, Dan. And this is like a really kind of under the radar story. People don't understand. Justin Rose is not some kid. Like, I remember I covered the Masters in 2011, and Justin Rose was I think it's like the first round leader there when I covered it. And he was like, you know, a little bit younger, but now the guy's 46 years old, Dan. Like, you know what I mean? Like 45. But yeah, he's turning 46. So you go up against all these kids in golf, and to be doing what he's doing is phenomenal. And it's one of those things. The one thing about Justin Rose, which is good for longevity, some of these guys just swing hard. Like Tiger went through the surgeries, and some guys who have a lot of power, they can't maintain it when they get older. That's why Bernard Langer is great on the senior tour. He's the same player, repetitive motion. And I'm looking at Justin Rose. The guy's got a friggin' 6-shot lead right now at Torrey Pines, where you've played, Dan. I'm very, very jealous because I've never got to play a beautiful course like that. It looks absolutely awesome. I'd like to try like Riviera as another course. I'm kind of an old school guy, but this course doesn't really, the one thing, Dan, it's tough, but it doesn't, when the winds pick up, this course it'll eat you up. Like I remember before when Harris English won, it was -8, right? And now Justin Rose is -21. And I'm watching the broadcast, and these guys have basically said they've never seen Torrey Pines play, you know, this easy without the wind. And right now the rough isn't even that penal. So Justin Rose, this is a great story. Guy who's turning 46-year-old, beating down kids. He's having a great week.
You know, I had a goal when I was younger that I wanted to play all the loops of the U.S. Opens. So
Amazing.
I've played Olympic, I've played Cherry Hill, I've played Baltusrol, I have played Congressional. So, yes, my favorite course.
What's your handicap?
How about
Is it under
this?
10?
No, I'm gonna. You know what my handicap is? So everyone asks me what my handicap is. I'm like,
play those courses. You must be pretty damn good. Hell of a lot better than me.
How about this? How much you putting up? Whatever it is, I'm better than that number right there, depending on what we're betting there at that.
Exactly.
My handicap. So let me ask you about the Super. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, that's how you win money, man. What do you make of the Super Bowl? I mean, how do you look at these two teams going into this? Is it Seattle Super Bowl to lose?
I'm really scared of New England, Dan. And you know me, I've been a Seahawk fan ever since I was a kid. So I've been going on a lot of shows talking about this team and how proud I am and just love the new, like McDonald and his coaching staff totally turned this team around. And no offense to Pete Carroll. He was a really good guy, but it was time to go, and you saw what happened with the Raiders. McDonald's from the Michigan tree, the Baltimore Ravens tree, and Kubiak's done a great job with the offense. But I'm concerned about New England. Their defense has been absolutely fantastic. The last 3 weeks into the playoffs, you know, they've really shut down teams. But Seattle, the one thing I'm happy about is Sam Darnold getting that monkey off his back and telling the media to, you know what, stick it where the sun don't shine, because he took a lot of abuse this year. And when push came to shove, after throwing 6 interceptions in the first game, he came back and had over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks in the NFC Championship game against the Rams. This is it for Seattle, though. They have to find another thing to do other than go to JSN, Dan. You know what the Patriots will do. Take away your best player. Kenneth Walker's been fantastic, but Cooper Kupp is going to be one of those guys. And you know what? He's a Super Bowl MVP. In the last 2 games, he's had 9 catches. And before that, 1, 2, 3. He's getting way more involved in the offense right now. And I already made a prop bet on George Halani, the Boise State running back, Seattle's backup, over 8.5 receiving yards. As I mentioned before, 3 catches for 27, averaging 9 in the game against the Rams. Walker can't be on the field all the time, so watch out for Halani to get balls out of the backfield. His rushing's not great, but he catches balls. It's kind of like a bowling ball, Dan. You get him in motion, bam, bam, bam. He'll come knock you out. So I think that number is a little bit too light. Barner for Seattle, too, over 22.5 receiving yards.
Well, I can understand a bowling ball, as you can tell here. So, yes, thank you very much. How about the coaching staff? And I've been talking about this all day here, Cam. I mean, Josh McDaniels, you have Clint Kubiak, you have Mike McDaniel, and you have Mike Vrabel. I don't think you can ask for a better coaching staff than you have with these 2 football teams for Super Bowl Sunday.
Excellent point, Dan. And think about Vrabel, too. Guy's been to Super Bowls with the Patriots and now coaching. That's one thing I'm worried about, too. Like, Mike McDonald has been fantastic, but this is his first trip to the big dance, right? Seattle has had a couple coaches there, but take a look at New England. All their guys, multiple appearances at the Super Bowl. They know how to handle the stupid media questions. They know how to handle the bye week, and that's very, very concerning. If you look, that number hasn't moved at all. They're stuck at 4.5. They don't want to move it up. They don't want to move it down. They think it's perfect. But I'll tell you, Dan, one thing, as a fan of a team, and this is the great thing, finally seeing your team in the Super Bowl, I don't care about point spreads or whatever. This is the thing. Win the damn game. So basically what I'm doing from a gambling perspective is just putting a bunch of money line parlays together with NHL games, other futures, and I'm going to have Seattle just to win the damn game. I don't care. I prefer it by 5 or more. But you know what I mean? Just win, get it done, and get our second Super Bowl. I told you, Dan, I still have nightmares about the Marshawn Lynch game. I'm literally turning 51, and I wake up and go, I can't believe we didn't win that Super Bowl, and it's versus the Patriots. I just see red when I see the Patriots after that game.
Well, I will tell you, the helmets behind you there, the only one that I can relate to is those Jim Zorn helmets. That's the one I like. The new one. I love the Jim Zorn helmet, man. Those are my type of helmet. I played at the old barn, and that old barn was as loud as it could be. This place is great. I love the new stadium, but nothing like that old barn that they played in.
Dan, I got to tell you something. When I was a kid, I remember I went up to my mom. I'm like, why are the Raiders killing Jim Zorn today? She goes, because the Raiders cheat, son. And I was like, the 1983 AFC Championship game. I'm 8 years old going, why are they beating Lyle Ozado and Howie Long are killing the Seahawks? But I love Kurt Warner, Steve Largent, Jim Zorn, Dave Craig. That's how I grew up. You know, Daryl Turner, Brian Blades. Like, these are guys. Like, I'm an old school Seahawk fan. So it's interesting that they've had some success, and it would really be nice to get number 2, Dan. Hockey today, Dan, watch out. I might actually come take a shot with the Anaheim Ducks against Vegas. I'm looking at that game. Feels kind of trappish. So that's what I'm going to be doing a little bit later, taking Carolina. And I'm looking at Boston as a pooch against the red-hot Tampa Bay Lightning. College basketball, Wichita State, that game is coming up plus 7.5 against red-hot Tulsa.
Just to give you a little insight, I voted for Cortez Kennedy and recruited him for the University of Miami.
Unbelievable.
To go to the College Football Hall of Fame. Appreciate you, Sam.
Love you, Dan.
Next, right here on
Heads or tails? Over or under? Seahawks Patriots. Don't stress. SportsGrid breaks it all down.
They are locks. We can capitalize.
We're going to see a ton of over money.
Props, expert guests, and smart insight leading up to the big game.
Oh my God, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl.
Only on SportsGrid.
They're just unblemished everywhere. They dominate you defensively, and they have offensive balance. They force turnovers, they control the glass. Let's put it to you like this. UConn isn't just undefeated. They're a tyrant over the women's basketball landscape. March won't expose them much as they will confirm their invincibility.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
How could you tell the story of baseball without Clemens, Rose, and Bonds? You don't have a Hall of Fame if you don't have those three dudes. Sills, you know what, man? These guys took steroids. There wasn't a steroid test and a PED test in Major League Baseball at the time. Do you understand this?
Outspoken with Dan Sileo. Only on SportsGrid.
But I remember being 16 in high school, being in my school uniform, long pants and a tie, and I deadlifted 200 kgs, so that's 440 pounds. So yeah, so that was I actually have a video of it, so it might get leaked somewhere. Someone might be able to find that one.
We might need to get that one to B-roll the show with.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
And without a doubt, the big story of the week obviously was this Bill Belichick story and being omitted from a first ballot Hall of Fame. You know, maybe at the end of the day, sometimes when a situation like this happens, maybe there's a silver lining on the other side of this. Bill Belichick, one of the greatest coaches in pro football history with 334 victories, 8 Super Bowl rings, 6 as a head coach, 8 as a coordinator with the New York Giants, innovator as a defensive-minded man. He could have went in basically just as a defensive coordinator. All of those accolades. And the fact that he coached Tom Brady and also the tremendous defensive football player in Lawrence Taylor. There's no coincidence. When you talk about a coach that had an impact on today's NFL, it's Bill Belichick. You can't say the story of the NFL without the name of Bill Belichick. You just can't. Look at the Super Bowls that they've been in. Well, as I said, this has all been well documented and all well covered. Maybe at the end of the day, the best storyline that comes out of this, it exposes Bill Polian. It exposes this guy for what he truly is. Bitter, envious, jealous, jealousy and envy. Some of the cardinal sins that sometimes men can't get over. Here's a guy that got his ass handed to him numerous times by the Belichick teams. Either the New York Giants, don't forget, this man took over for John Butler, who passed away, the former general manager of the Buffalo Bills. Wasn't it Bill Belichick's defense in that second Super Bowl in Tampa when he was a defensive coordinator and he stopped Kelly Gunn that stopped the Bill Polian Buffalo Bills team from winning one of those Super Bowls? The answer is yes. Then he fast forwards it and he's there in Indianapolis. And who runs in his way again? The head football coach of the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick. Knocks them constantly out of the AFC Championship games numerous times. Peyton Manning with a losing record versus Tom Brady and Belichick. And what happened? Well, the AFC Championship game. The following year, Deflategate happened. And who was the team the previous year in the AFC title game? You got it. Bill Polian and Tony Dungy's Indianapolis Colts. So in the meeting this week which took about 45 minutes, where guys were standing up and bringing up something that I wasted 3 years of my broadcasting career on. You know what that was? PSI. Pressure in a football. I wasted 3 years of my life talking about PSI. I had no idea what that was. I didn't even know it was a thing. But once again, Bill Polian made it into a thing. Look at what he did with Terrell Owens. Whatever you think of Terrell Owens, Bill Polian made Jeff Garcia seem like he was Tom Brady and Joe Montana. I mean, Jeff Garcia was a dude. T.O. was one of the greatest wide receivers in NFL history. Whatever you think of him, destroying teams, what have you, you can't say the name and you can't use the story of the National Football League without using the name Terrell Owens. Guys, when you have that kind of prejudice in the room, what other prejudices do you have in the room if you're that petty? You can't have a vote and vote for people's resume. You are there to vote for resume, not character, nothing else than the resume and what they do in between the hash marks. Bill Polian doesn't see it that way. He cost Terrell Owens a chance to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and now he's cost Bill Belichick on being a first ballot Hall of Famer. And by the way, the people that say that that doesn't matter, you know who you are? You're people with no legacies. Only people that talk like that have no legacy. Well, it doesn't matter. He'll get in next year. That's because you don't know what building something is when it comes to building a football career and the sacrifices that it takes. Family, body parts, if you're a player, time. How much time does coaches have to put into? How many sleepless nights do you get putting rosters together as a coach? Bill Polian being exposed was the best thing to happen out of this entire week for the fraud he is. We appreciate you very much. Next week will be, don't forget, Super Bowl 60. You can catch me through on Kane Sports. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Heads
are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
New York Giants. They fired their head coach, Brian Daboll. Now, they did that during the season. Harbaugh is the favorite by a wide margin. Looking at Kalshi right now, Joe, 56% chance. 56 that he's the coach. The guy behind him is Kevin Stefanski at 25%. Does this look like it's just a Harbaugh spot? And if not, why is Harbaugh waiting until Monday? Does he want to see if something else opens up? But it looks like he's the heavy favorite and probably will get the job.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.